Holy shit.
Ladies and gentlemen of Knuckle.
Oops. Understand what's going on. I think we lost George. Waiting on George. I think he's having a little trouble, a little technical difficulty. Let me see. You there?
Gary, you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, well, you froze up again, it looked like. Hello? I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. Can you hear me, George? I don't know. I have no idea. Again. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. My connection, I don't know what's going on with my internet. I have two different
Having a little technical difficulty here. Bear with us for a moment.
holy shit. Nice. What's going on? Hey, Gary, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, I'm about to, if this keeps happening, I'm just going to log this thing off and maybe start over. Can you hear me?
You keep coming in and out. You there now? Yeah, you're moving now.
I've never had internet connection. I've never had internet connection this bad. I don't think in my entire life since AOL fucking dial-up. Can you hear what the fuck I'm saying right now?
Yeah, I hear you.
I hear you. Fuck off. All right.
No, I hear you.
Ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, I apologize for that. Apparently AT&T hates me and Gary. Welcome to episode 37 of the Fightersrep podcast, the best fucking fight podcast on the fucking planet, even when the Wi-Fi is not working. Okay. Today we're going to be talking about Deontay Wilder versus Zhang, Big Bang Zhang. We're going to be doing the recap of that, talking a little bit about the 5-on-5 that Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren did. And we're going to be talking about something that really is going to impact, I think, the striking community in the state of California. Something I strongly disagree with. And it's new rules, Gary, that the Athletic Commission is going to be implementing for pro-ams specifically that I think are not going to help the sport in any way, shape, or form. But it is what it is. So let's kick off the night, Gary. First and foremost, still buzzing off that Fightersrep 23. We got Fightersrep 24 coming on Saturday. I look forward to you running running that live stream with us. But during our little break, we watched what happened to Deontay Wilder in that fight. I believe me and you called for a stoppage in that fight. That was our prediction. And I believe we both called for Zhang, Big Bang Zhang, to get the stoppage. We both said, strangely, between round 8 and 10, I think you had it around round 8, maybe even sooner. I had it around, I said between 8 and 10, but I was feeling 8. This guy goes out there and knocks out Deontay Wilder in pretty emphatic fashion in the 5th round, Gary. It's kind of bittersweet for me, man. Kind of tell me what you think about this whole outcome.
I mean, it's what I pretty much thought was going to happen. So I'm not surprised. I mean, the Wilder ride was fun. It's pretty much over now. It's over now. Like the mystique, everything, nobody's afraid of him anymore. It's kind of like after Tyson lost to Buster Douglas, then he gets beat up by Lennox Lewis in Holyfield. It's kind of like we still tune in. You'll still watch him, but you'll still watch him, but you wouldn't you wouldn't pay no big money to see him. You're not dying. You're not changing plans to go see Deontay Wilder or anything like that. Like you said, it's I've been a fan since day one. There's been some moments where I didn't like what he did, but for the most part, I've been a fan. It's just we saw this coming. I think everybody pretty much saw it coming.
I wouldn't say everybody, though. I think me and you were pretty accurate in this prediction. I mean, I think a lot of people probably thought Wilder had enough to finish Zhang, including myself. I think everybody going into this fight thought there was still maybe some sort of remnant of Deontay Wilder, that if he connected with a big right hand, this fight is over at any time. We even talked about in the prediction, right? I mean, we said you got to be perfect for 12 rounds against him. I'm not sure that applies anymore, though. I'm not sure that applies anymore. And, it's for me, I said it's bittersweet for me. And I'll let you retort. But for me, I said it was bittersweet for me because, I wanted Zhang to win because I said he hasn't been to that mountaintop. Deontay had a bunch of title defenses, won a championship, made a ton of money for his family. I don't think Zhang, I don't think the Big Bang has gotten there yet, even though he's the older guy, right? He's 3 years older. I don't think he's gotten there, and I felt like that was going to be motivating for him and allow him to get this win by knockout, which he did, right? Which he did. But it was bittersweet. The bitter part was, I saw Deontay. It kind of, he's your American heavyweight. You want your guy to win. And you kind of want that excitement back. You know what I mean? It's like like that ex-girlfriend. You know what I mean? That used to do a certain thing correctly. And you wanna feel that again, but you don't know if she remembers or she can still do it. Or a horrible analogy there, but
I got where you're going. You was cooking. You was cooking.
So it was, but honestly, it was sad to see him go out like that, bro. It was sad to see him go out like that, when he kind of talked himself, it's almost a learning lesson, Gary. He refused Mark Breland. His ego, I feel like, was too big for Mark Breland. He got rid of him. He got this guy, Malik Scott, in his corner, who I think is very much a yes man for him. And I think there's a big lesson to learn, right? Big lesson to learn. And Gary, before you retort, Adari Pennant is in here. He says Queensbury and Matchroom should join forces, team up, merged, and work together. Partnership. They should make a heavyweight Grand Prix Ultimate Super Tournament 16-man fight. Adari, appreciate you being in here. I think that's a badass idea. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Go ahead, Gary. Tell me what you think, bro.
Yeah. Now, well, I'll start off with what you were saying, and I'll address what Adari and everybody else say. I guess I wanted Wilder to win, even though I picked that he wouldn't win. I wanted him to win because I still feel like we got robbed of Wilder AJ. And while it still wouldn't have been the same, because both guys have gotten a little shine knocked off of them, even though AJ's starting to get his back.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But I still feel we got robbed of that fight, and that's what what I wanted to see. So in a sense, kind of like he was bittersweet, you know what I'm saying? I was right. I like being right, but I kind of still wanted him to go ahead and fight. But Deontay Wilder, I know a lot of people been ragging on him and bagging on him and saying, he's trash. He told you he was being protected. He didn't really beat nobody and things of this nature. For a guy that started as late as he did in his 20s and win a bronze medal, I believe, in the Olympics, became a heavyweight champ in a premier division of boxing. You know what I mean? You became a heavyweight champ, and you took Tyson Fury, who was undefeated, who is considered an elite boxer. Hey, you almost knocked him out. Yeah. You dropped him 4 times. So, he's had a good career. It's over now. I mean, he can still box, but the high level fights, I think, is over now. But he made his money. He made his money, but like you said, some of the fame got to him. I think some of the power. He got drunk with power from the power of the right hand. You know what I mean? Yeah. He got lost in that power and didn't develop as much as I still feel like he could have, even though he started late, I feel he could have even been. I mean, Rolly's more developed than he was, and Rolly started late too. You know what I mean? So I still feel like he could have developed his skills a little bit more to actually probably do. Maybe he wins some of these fights. But at this point, it's kind of sad to see him in the last 2 fights being a shell of himself, being just, against Parker, he didn't even win a round. And then this one, he looked gun-shy to even throw a punch. I know they said 90-something punches, but if you watch that fight, he was just flicking. He wasn't really throwing no intent, waiting for that right hand. And I think, and at first I was like, Zhang isn't throwing. Zhang, however you say his name, he wasn't throwing a lot either at that point. But I think he was waiting for Wilder to open up. He was just baiting Wilder to go try that right hand. Come on, I'm gonna counter it eventually. And I don't want to take credit for this, but I seen Showbiz point out something. That's the same punch that Luis Ortiz hit him with that had him running around the ring for 2 rounds. And I didn't even think about it. Like I said, I'm not taking credit for it. I seen Showbiz actually show the video, but it was literally the same thing. So it's not like Deontay just lost it. He's old. He's always been making that mistake. He's always been making it.
Getting countered, the way he got countered?
Exact same. Him throwing the right.
Well, Gary, if we're being fair, right? That's kind of his only weapon, really, is that big right hand. Yeah. And so he's cocking it back like this. And so, you're either going to counter with the left or the right. You got 2 choices. And I felt like, I will say, Zhang's speed and timing on that counter was kind of impressive for a big guy. You know what I mean? He must have saw like some sort of action in the body that made him just quickly throw that right hook out there and catch Wilder before he could deliver his right hand.
Well, see, the thing is,
the beginning of the end, he spun around. I don't know if you saw, like, there were people been joking about it on social media that he was training, spinning around the mop or whatever the hell it was, and then cracked him right as he was turning back around to look at Zhang, and he flattened him, man. That was a.
Well, see, the thing is, the thing is, I don't think that was a at the moment thought real quick for Zhang. I think he was planning that the whole time. He saw something because he hit Wilder with that same counter earlier in the fight. If you watch it, he caught him earlier that sent Wilder stumbling back.
Yeah.
And then Wilder can't win. He waited for Wilder to do it again. And he caught him, and that time he ended it. He caught him twice with that same counter.
Big Bang is a dangerous, powerful guy, man.
Yeah,
he's a dangerous, powerful guy. He had Parker on the canvas.
Yeah,
he just knocked Wilder the hell out.
He did what's his name? Who else he did I forgot.
Joyce.
Joe Joyce. Like that's exactly what I was thinking about. Yeah,
man,
and Joe Joyce is a big puncher.
Dude. And I thought Joe Joyce was the man. You know what I mean? And and it's funny because on this 5 versus 5, Hrgović, who beat Zhang, lost. And so now I feel like Zhang, because boxing is such a what have you done for me lately sport, Zhang might be ahead of the line now. Maybe they get him to fight Dubois. I mean, who knows what happens.
I was about to say, I don't think he's head of the line at this point because
further than Hrgović, maybe is what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, he's probably maybe. But I'm just saying you still have Parker beat well, I think Parker already fought. Well, yeah. Didn't Parker fight Usyk already?
No.
No, okay. So it's so you got Parker beat Zhang. So he has to be ahead of Zhang for because I beat him. Then you got Du Bois just beat Hrgović, who was probably next in line to fight. Right. So you have those three guys, Zhang, Parker, Du Bois. You have those three guys right now. Then you still got AJ, of course, if Fury wins or whatever.
And check out what Adari's saying. And I appreciate you for the comment, Adari. He says, who wins between Zhilei Zhang and Ajit Kabayel? Because remember, Ajit Kabayel just knocked out Frank Sanchez, the Cuban Flash. So
yeah,
Ajit's got to be up there too. He also beat Derek Chisora, when Derek Chisora was still kind of better than he is now.
Yeah. I mean,
heavyweight division is exciting now, Gary.
Well, so see, the thing is, while Zhang has power, I did see against Parker his flaws. He's older. He's 41. He's slowing down. So I don't think he beats Du Bois. He fought Hrgović already, right? Didn't Hrgović beat?
Well, Hrgović beat Zhang in a really, really good fight. It was a good fight. It was close. And Dubois just beat Hrgović. I mean, it was basically on a cut, right? I mean, he was, hitting Hrgović a lot.
Hrgović was wearing down, though. Right, Hrgović was gassed.
Right, but they stopped the fight on a cut, I believe, and they awarded it to Dubois, who was winning the fight. Good on him. But, I mean, that doesn't mean because here's the thing: Joyce knocked Dubois out, and Zhang knocked out Joyce. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah, but
like the kids say, the math don't math all the time. The math isn't mathing.
I got you. I got you on that part. But Parker did beat Zhang straight up, so Parker has to be ahead of him, in my opinion. And he beat Wilder. He beat Wilder too, and he beat Zhang.
But does Parker? So does Parker fight the winner of Usyk Fury? Does he fight Dubois for the whatever title Dubois just won? It's kind of I don't even know how we go forward. What I'm saying is it's just a very exciting landscape now because there's a lot of quality heavyweights.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like it's a separation between, and maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
I feel like there's a separation between the top three: AJ, Usyk, and Fury. I think they're clearly the top three. I think it's a separation between the other guys. While the other guys are good, I don't think they're on their level.
How far behind? How far behind is Parker, though? How far behind is Parker?
I don't see Parker beating any of those guys. I see Parker getting knocked out. Wow. By pretty much. He already got knocked out by AJ, didn't he?
He lost the decision.
Did he get knocked down?
I'm not sure. He lost the decision. Mind you, he also lost to Joyce.
Yeah. He got knocked out. He actually got knocked out in that fight. Yeah. He got beat bad in that fight. He got knocked down twice in that fight.
That's what I'm saying, man. We got to.
But I'm saying
Adari's point of making a tournament is a great point, man, because anyone people might surprise us in that tournament,
Well, it's heavyweights. One punch, anybody can surprise. But if I had to bet my money, I don't think Parker beats any of those top guys. Especially, I don't think he beats any of those top three. If I had to go with Zhang, puncher's chance, but I don't think he beats anybody. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he beats any of those guys. I'll give Du Bois, a chance, a little bit better chance than the other two. I'll give him not against Usyk though. Dubois, however you say his name.
Does Dubois have a better chance than Parker in breaking into that top 3, in your opinion?
Yeah.
Dubois?
Yeah. I think out of everybody we mentioned, I think Dubois probably has the best chance of cracking that top 3. I don't think he will. I wouldn't bet for him to do it, but I would say if I had to pick out of those guys, I would say Dubois. Just because I seen him in there with Usyk, and at first, the first couple rounds, he was doing pretty good with Usyk. Yeah. Then he started breaking down, and it was kind of disappointing. That's when most people felt like he quit. But I give him the best shot.
Let's go through some of these comments, Gary. We got Alex E in here. Appreciate you, brother. He says, I would feel more bad for Wilder as he closes out his career if he wasn't so pompous and arrogant at the height of his career and involved in the conspiracy theory that cost Breland his job. Breland was actually a good trainer for Wilder and trying to set him straight. Wilder just wanted to be surrounded by yes men that kissed his butt. And I kind of agree with that, man. I kind of agree with that and kind of feel the same way about Wilder because of that.
Well, the arrogant part, I don't agree with the arrogant part just because a lot of these boxers are trying to be arrogant, trying to get you, trying to say wild things to get you to come out. That's part of the trying to sell this and trying to be a star. Now, the other part you said, I 100% agree with that. If you don't feel bad for him because of what he did to Breland, that's totally justifiable. That's one of the times in George that I spoke of earlier that I didn't agree with what he did. Like I didn't agree with that. Like when you do these things to get people to come see the fights and do all this talking and stuff like this, when you lose, don't start doing these conspiracy theories and things of that nature. And that
take your loss, bro.
Yeah, like I don't mind you being brash. I don't mind you talking your shit. I don't mind you saying all the things I want to body in it, even though that was a little far, but I didn't mind that too much because I heard Tyson say he wanted to put somebody a nose bone up into their brain. So Tyson did it a long time ago. And Sugar Ray Leonard told he wanted to kill Duran. He wanted to murder him.
Remember when Tyson wanted to eat Lennox Lewis's kids or something?
Yeah, I mean, that's all of it. I don't care about that kind of stuff. As long as when you lose, just take it how you gave it, man. Yeah. And that's the only. So I don't begrudge anybody who says, man, what he did to Breland was messed up. I felt like that was messed up, and I don't feel bad for the guy. He got what he deserves. I can't argue with him. Me personally, I just look at it as a mistake. I still feel like he overcame a whole lot. He did a lot of good. He was trying to make money for his sick daughter and all that stuff. So and he did it. So.
Yeah, but I do think, in my opinion, right, it calls his character into question when he did that to Breland, when he said, Tyson Fury the gloves were loaded and all this bullshit that they said. I mean, it was a lot of people they threw under the bus, Gary, right?
Yeah, no, I agree.
You're talking about the mission. You're talking about the trainer. You're talking about the glove. You're talking about Tyson. And even when Tyson beat him and went to the corner to talk to him, he didn't want to talk. To say it's. I understand you have a big ego to be in the fight game, but at some point it gets toxic and it gets out of control. And I think that's what happened to Wilder. And I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan.
Oh no, I said it when we just talked earlier. I said I do think he got power drunk and he got ego and all that. I said that. I mean, I still, because even George Foreman accused Muhammad Ali of putting something in his water. Yeah, he thought they put something in his water.
Well, we got Adari. I mean, we even got Coach Collinsworth in here now from Soapboxing Podcast. Man, this shit is getting lit in here.
Yeah.
But, let's read some more of the comments here. Adari Pennington, Frank Sanchez, and Philip Hergovich will become heavyweight champion of the world. Mark my words. I mean, that's interesting considering they both are coming off of losses, Adari. But I appreciate that. Obviously, it could happen, but they're both coming off of pretty bad losses right now. Adari Pennant says, we will move into a friction competitive era of heavyweight boxing. Jared Anderson versus Joseph Parker would be great. I actually think that would be a good fight. I agree with that.
Nice step-up fight,
about Jared, Big Baby Anderson. Because,
he still has to fight some people to get his name up there. He ain't fight nobody yet to get his name up there.
But I feel like he has the capability of getting there at some point.
Yeah.
Alex E says, I thought Andy Ruiz with his quick hands and ability to get inside would have KO'd Wilder if they ever made that fight, but both priced themselves out. That sounds about right.
Andy Ruiz. Hey, real quick, let me say this. Andy Ruiz ruined his own career.
Yeah, he did.
He should be in these talks and having in these Saudi big money fights. That dude sabotaged his whole career.
Crazy, bro. Crazy. Like if I was Andy Ruiz right now,
instead of kicking himself,
instead
how much money he lost,
bro. Instead of eating pizza and chicken wings and tacos, bro, I'd be eating rolled up money, just rolled up money, bro. I'd just be eating it, with dipping it in sauce and eating. That's how much money I'd have.
Nah, that's the guy that fired his coach after he lost, and fired his coach after he lost, priced himself out.
You remember we interviewed Manny Ramirez right on this channel. Got like 150,000 views, man.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. He had the guy that got you there. You fired him. You when you had the rematch, you overate, came in out of shape. Then after that, you priced yourself out of fights that could have put you back on the scene and getting this Saudi money. You did Saudi money, your people's money, bro. He could have been getting that.
Man, they won't even give me any, man. I wish I was in Andy Ruiz's shoes. I would have gotten some. Alex E says, don't forget about the 45-pound costume conspiracy. Oh my God.
Yeah, the 40 costume.
Water was pushing too. That shit was crazy, bro. And no doubt, Ruiz definitely ruined his career. Good call, fellas. I appreciate you, Alex. But yeah, let me ask you, what did you think of that knockout, though? Big Bang landed on Wilder. It was a pretty heavy one, man.
I mean, he had to get really hard because not only did it spin him around, he act like the fight was over, the round was over. He was going back to his corner. Like ding, like the bell rung or something. Yeah. Like he got his bell rung. He had like the bell rung, and he just didn't even. And I seen Clarissa Shields was saying like, "Oh, well, the ref didn't pause the fight because he spun around. He just let him get hit." I'm like, well, that's what happens when you do that. That's you know what I mean. That's not the ref's responsibility to me.
Let me tell you something. I'm a little surprised she says that because, obviously we promote fights, and I've literally seen referees stop a fight because of that. You're not supposed to turn your back on your opponent.
Yeah, but if you're a ref, are you stopping the fight right there? Are you stopping the fight right there when he's hurt? Because if I'm hurt and I don't want to get beat up anymore, I might just turn my back so the ref can step in and be like, "Hey, you can't do that," and and then I can regain myself a little bit. Could be like a cheating method. So why would I jump in? Because I know what you're saying. I seen it with recently with he was showboating. What's his name from the UK? What's his name? I can't think of his name right now. But he was dancing and doing all the showboating, uppercutting, and he spent around, and the ref stopped him and said, "Hey, you can't do that," or whatever. And so I seen it, but I'm not gonna stop the fight once you got hurt and you turn your back. Right. No.
You better turn your ass back around, and if not, you're gonna get knocked out. And unfortunately for him, as soon as he did this, Gary, oh fucking. It was like this, Gary. Hold on. Let me come here. It was like this. Oh shit! It was like I was like, damn, bro. Big Bang did him dirty, bro. Like he ran up on him. He saw him turn around. He ran up on him, and he was like, boom! Wow. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, man. I mean, but I just another thing I thought too that I think everybody's figured out that you walk towards Wilder, not away from him. You make him fight off that back foot, fight off the ropes. He doesn't know how to do any of that.
Yeah.
He only knows how to stalk and walk you down and range for that right hand. So
yeah.
I mean, but I mean, Zhang, that was a good knockout.
It was a heavy knockout. I felt like he hit the floor pretty hard. His head bounced off the canvas. Luckily, he got back up. I mean, he looked like he was all right.
Well, he was a little wobbly. I'm glad the ref stopped the fight though, because some people was like, "Oh, well, stopped the fight because of the fact of the matter is he's gonna end up like AJ did Francis Ngannou." He's like, Francis got knocked down the second time, he gets up and you could tell he wasn't there. And it just took 1 second for me. You just let me get one more shot on him, basically to knock him the fuck out.
Yeah, no, he would have been tore up, man. He would have been tore up. Adari says Bakodir Jalalov is a very good heavyweight prospect from Uzbekistan. We'll definitely, I've heard of him.
I haven't heard of him.
We'll see how he does. Wilder, when he got hit and did the Booker T spinneroonie, was wondering if Zhang or the referee hit him. Holy shit, bro. You guys are some cold. Hey, Knucklehead Nation got some cold, sick puppies in it right there. That is ridiculous and hilarious, but fucked up that you called it the spinneroonie, bro. Gary, we also, we talked about Daniel Dubois. He defeated Filip Hrgović via TKO in round number 8. Bivol beat Malik Zinad, the late replacement for Beterbiev, TKO round 6. Hamza Shiraz gets the TKO over Austin Ammo Williams in round 11. Nick Bull beats Raymond Ford by split decision, and
that was the crazy fight.
Yeah, and Willie Hutchinson defeats Craig Richards via unanimous decision. I mean, any opinion on any of these fights? Anything that really stuck out to you?
Ball and Ford was a really entertaining, exciting fight. But it's crazy because Ford just had his last fight was like that. Yeah. I don't know. He was losing it. He actually, I want to say, was it 11th or 12th round? He ended up winning that fight by a knockout. Yeah, so, but that was, people were saying that was fight of the year, and now he gets in. He gets in with Ball, who is like a baby pit bull Cruz in there. Yeah, and I mean, the only thing about Ford is I don't understand why he was choosing to go toe to toe with him. You're a longer, taller guy, and literally Ball called him in one time, and Ford was like, "Okay, let's go." I was like, "But why?"
Yeah, Ball was like unusually short.
Yeah. And I'm like, why would you you're standing ring? I mean, it made for a great fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But standing in the middle of the ring, that's what he wants you to do.
Yeah.
I don't standing straight and trading him. Granted, he was pressuring you. He put a lot of pressure, and you got to sometimes stand and trade just to back the guy off a little bit. But I don't know. But I mean, it was a close fight.
It was a close fight. The guy I was impressed with was Hamza Shiraz, the one
I didn't see that fight.
The one that beat Ammo Williams. I mean, he got hurt. I think close to the beginning of the fight, he got hurt. He recovered, and then he landed this like really impressive like sweeping right hand at one point. I don't know if he timed it just right or he just got lucky with the timing, but it dropped Ammo Williams. I was like, damn, man, and he was so long for the division. I mean, the guy looked so tall compared to Ammo Williams. I was like, holy shit, this guy could be like a real problem. Those tall guys are hard to deal with. Almost like a Fedora. He was kind of like a Fedora. I mean, I'm sure not as tall as Fedora, but
I didn't see that fight.
He was tall and long like him, and I was kind of impressed with his boxing ability and his way to keep composed even though he got hurt. That was a good fight too. But yeah, and freaking Eddie Hearn gets shut out, man. And I didn't expect that, man. I thought at least one of his guys would win. Shit, he got embarrassed.
Yeah, I mean, he got, I guess Hrgović got knocked out. Wilder got knocked out.
He got embarrassed, dude.
Well, if he would have had, it was kind of unfair too, because not Bivol, but I can't think of his name right now. Beterbiev. He didn't fight. So it was supposed to be that. Honestly, that was really when everything was announced. That was really what everybody wanted to see.
Man, that would have been too good. That would have been too good of an eye. The boxing god said nope. That would have been too good.
That's the fight that out of all these fights, that's the fight I wanted to see, man. But it did. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. Hopefully, that happens soon. But I mean, Bivol put on a good performance, so we can still. Now, would have hurt if Bivol went in there and lost. They're like, oh man.
Yeah,
but
I hear you. Well, If you guys haven't already, subscribe to the channel, join the channel to help us build. That's the best way to help us continue to build. We're coming off of Fighters Rep 23, Gary. It was a fantastic event. We covered it yesterday. If you guys want to watch the event, you got to join the channel or watch the recap to find out what happened. We'll be releasing and uploading the videos to each fight individually in the coming days and in the coming week. And we have Fighters Rep 24 coming on Saturday from the beautiful Commerce Casino in Los Angeles. So get your tickets, at fightersrep.com, or join the channel in order to watch that if you can't make it, which, Gary, they should be able to. There's a hotel attached at the Commerce Casino. And, and I want to see everybody there. That being said, though, that being said, there's something I want to hit on. This is going to interest everybody in the striking community, especially those that are interested on jumping on Pro-Am cards in the state of California, which we're planning on doing on September 7th, Gary. And this is not good news, in my opinion, because I think, I don't agree with it. You know, they have their opinion on what they think is safe and what they think is good for the sport. And me as a promoter who does this for a living, I do this, like the kids say, I would disagree with what they're implementing here. So what they want to do going forward and this is, it's a little bit strange in that I think it only applies to amateurs on Pro-Am cards. I don't believe it's going to apply to amateurs on all amateur cards. So it seems a little bit weird and inconsistent, and I could be wrong about that, but that's what I'm hearing. So I'll just preface this by saying I could be wrong about that, but that inconsistency is what I'm hearing. But here's the real problem. So, I think I told you, Gary, not too long ago, I sat down with the commission and, I was able to convince them to keep it at 3 fights before a fighter has to take off their headgear and shin guards. They were trying to move it to 5 fights. I told them it's not really going to help. Headgear, as we've seen from the study online, pretty much the only comprehensive study I could think of or have ever seen, shows that headgear causes more brain damage. It prevents cuts, but it causes more brain damage. And there's a lot of theories as to why. It creates more surface area for you to punch. It's more weight on your head and on your neck. It's very tight. It doesn't allow you to see the shots coming. People fight a bit more reckless. There's a lot of reason why people think that the headgear causes more brain injury. But the fact is that this study showed over, I think, the course of 10,000 rounds of men's boxing, that it does, in fact, cause more brain injury to have headgear, even though it prevents cuts much better than without headgear. That being said, for me, brain injuries are a lot more serious than cuts. And so if I could prevent a brain injury, I'm going to pick that over preventing a cut. You see what I'm saying there, Gary?
Yeah.
So it looks like for Pro-Am cards, they are now going to force all the fighters to not only have 5 fights before they can take off the headgear and the shin guards, but also to have a winning record that goes along with those 5 fights. If you know anything about the sport, it's very unfortunate because fighters and coaches, especially in California, really hate the headgear. They feel like it interferes with their ability to perform. Again, I think it causes more injury and so on and so forth. And, nobody likes the look of it. I mean, fans don't want to come see a bunch of headgear fights. Fighters don't want to fight in headgear. And a lot of the coaches don't like it. I would say the great majority don't. The other issue, and I'll let you retort, the other issue is they want the fighters to now abide by the same blood work as the MMA fighters do. On the amateur front, right now, all you need is a physical to fight in kickboxing. But now they want them to have, a panel of blood tests for hepatitis and HIV and things like that. I don't think that's the worst requirement, but at the same time, that costs money. And a lot of these guys just don't have the money to be paying for those tests. And then here's the real kicker for me. I mean, I'd like to see some more studies on it. But as far as I know, I've never heard of anyone catching any of those diseases from a fight. I just really haven't. So I think that's an argument that people have made to multiple commissions, right? And it's, it's a legitimate argument. I mean, has anybody ever caught any of these blood-related diseases from a fight? I've never heard of it. I've never seen it. I've been promoting since 2017. Gary, it's going on 7-8 years. I've never heard of anyone catching a disease in a fight other than, maybe like a bacterial infection from the cage in an MMA, in an MMA fight or something like that. So, that's the news. It worries me because, again, why would they fight on the Pro-Am card, right? If they could fight on an amateur card and not have to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that being on the Pro-Am card, because it's, more, I guess, prestigious, will still, attract enough people for me to put these fights together that are going to be willing to pay the $150, $200, $250, whatever it is, to get these blood tests and they're still going to be okay with maybe having to wear headgear when they can go down the street and not wear the headgear. Gary, let me know what you think.
I agree with you on the headgear part because it's kind of similar to for me, from what I understand, to what Dana White says versus boxing versus UFC. Like, okay, the guys wear smaller gloves and things, but they get knocked out and the fight's over. It ends, it's over. When you have on headgear, it's harder to knock out a guy with headgear. So you're just taking more banging to your head than you normally naturally would.
That could
because and it doesn't matter how hard it is, your brain, you can have this on here, your brain still rattles. Football players wear helmets. It still rattles. You know what I'm saying? And so if you could take more punishment because the headgear is actually allowing you to take a little bit more punishment than you normally would be able to do, then it's causing more damage. You would probably just rather the guy get knocked out.
I would agree with you there. Yeah. And that's actually why I think kickboxing and maybe even Muay Thai to an extent, but definitely kickboxing, I think, is a lot less dangerous than boxing because it's 3 rounds, right? It's 3 rounds. You can hit to the legs, you can hit to the body, you can hit to the arms, you can kind of, whereas boxing, you're kind of just limited to the upper body and you're mostly targeting the head. I mean, everybody just goes after the head in boxing, and it's 12 rounds of that versus 3 rounds in kickboxing. And, if you catch a shin to the head, you're going to sleep, but getting punched on for 12 rounds, bang, 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 punched on for 12 rounds, you're just begging for brain damage there. And it's really unfortunate. Look, we got to continue and try to grow the business, and try to grow the sport and the promotion. And I guess we just have to abide by this. But, I let them know. I think it's unfortunate. I don't think it's going to help the sport at all.
And
it's going to harm the sport.
And with the blood test you were saying before, at first when you said blood test, I'm like, well, what's wrong with a blood test? But then as you elaborated, because I'm thinking, are they testing for performance enhancing stuff or whatever? That's at first when you said it. But then you were like, no,
they do. The pro commission does that, but for the amateurs, they don't do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I thought that maybe they were saying for amateurs, you got to have blood tests to make sure you're not doing anything. But you say they don't do that. But then when you were saying, it's for hepatitis, it's for blood transmitted diseases and things that nature. I'm like, so if they actually have that, they can't fight? Because I remember Tommy Morrison had AIDS.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he was fighting at that. I'm not sure if he was fighting at that time. Was he still fighting?
He came back after. At first, he stopped. Then he came back. If I'm remembering correctly, I'm pretty sure I remember correctly.
Well,
he came back and fight.
So the pro fighters are always expected to have blood tests, right? I mean, that's kind of always been the case. But with amateurs, I'll tell you an effect of it, right? And why I think it's going to harm the sport, right? From a business standpoint, for sure. And then that ends up harming it for everyone. I know for a fact an athletic commission that stopped doing tournaments in a certain state because that state started requiring blood work. I know for a fact, and when you take that level of experience and an entire tournament out of a state with a decision, you really harm the development of the fighters in that state, because not all of them, Gary, are going to be able to hop on a plane and go to Vegas or Arizona or wherever these tournaments are being held. So all the locals are just not going to participate, you know, and what they're going to do, Gary, which is what's happening to the sport now, is they're going to have their own little combat sparring, they call them in California, or smokers is what they call them. And that's when people go to a gym. It's unsanctioned. Nobody's tested for anything. Some people, you know, don't even have any medical professionals there. Some of these guys that are just trying to make a little bit of money, you know, charging people to come compete in these smokers and go to these smokers. So now, instead of like encouraging a safe environment that's affordable, you know, it kind of backfires. It has the opposite effect, you know, and I understand that the intent, right, may be good, right? Oh, if they wear this thing on their head, they'll be safe. Oh, if they do these blood exams, they'll be safe. But what they're not seeing is the damage that it causes, because maybe they don't come from these socioeconomic backgrounds that a lot of these fighters like me and you come from, Gary. You know, I was living 15 people in a 3-bedroom home across the street from Miguel in Kent. You know, Miguel, maybe the same shit. You know, you're the same shit. Like, where were we gonna get? Ma, let me get $300 to go get blood tests. You know, she's gonna tell me to go work at VRC. You know what the hell? So it's like, you know, it just becomes problematic, man. It's a problem. And
I mean, I think to require something that never happened,
it's gotta happen. You know, show me some evidence that it happened.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If it never happened until now, if it never happened, why do we have to do this now for something that never happened? It's never happened. So
and then it's not going to be consistent.
Yeah, I don't get that part either. If I know you say you're not sure, but if you're correct in that part too, that's kind of, I don't get the point of, okay, if you're in a pro-am, you have to do this, and if you're just doing straight amateurs, you don't. I don't get that either.
And get this, Gary, it gets worse, man. So amateur MMA fighters don't have to wear headgear at all.
Yeah.
And in men's Olympic boxing, the amateurs, and in the Olympic boxing, they got rid of the headgear completely because they looked at this study and they said, well, we don't want our guys getting brain damage. So why are we not following the science, bro? That's what I want to understand. Who is this all-powerful like person that's convincing us to go against the science, you know? And if it's a liability issue, listen, if it's a liability issue that you know you're afraid of, you know, in implementing these rules, I mean, I think that's backfiring too, right? Because if I get hurt because I was wearing headgear, and Gary, let me tell you, I've had 5 transports to the hospital in my career as a promoter. 4 of them involved headgear. Out of the 5, 4 involved headgear. So if I am a person who's fighting and gets harmed because I'm forced to wear headgear, right? Mm-hmm. I get harmed wearing headgear. If I file a lawsuit, I have this research paper that's been conducted with, you know, 10,000 rounds of evidence that says that this causes more harm than otherwise. Why did you force me to wear this stuff? Why are you going against the science? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got what you're saying.
I just wish I could understand. I don't understand. You know what I mean? Like, some things, you know, don't work. Like, people used to think smoking cigarettes was good for you. You know, in ancient times, I think they used to think chewing rocks was good for your teeth. Some things are just not, and science proves it's not. So let's follow the science. That's all I'm asking. And listen, I'm okay with the blood test. You know, it's not as bad as the headgear thing for me, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to see people get hurt, right? But show me where somebody has caught a disease from the fucking show me where someone punched somebody in the face in a kickboxing match and caught hepatitis. Show it to me.
Yeah.
I want to know.
Yeah.
I want to know who it happened to, because I've never heard it. And I'll swallow, whatever argument I'm making now, and look for it online. Fighter catches HIV in the ring.
But even if somebody finds one or two cases, for me, I mean, which I don't think, I have never heard of it. Right. But even if you find one or two out of how many competitive fights, I mean, it's still an anomaly. It's not something that's prevalent in the sport that's harming people. And of course, you don't want anybody to get those things, but even if it's just one person, but it's an anomaly. It's not like Gary, if you do find something like that.
But Gary, I've come to realize, right, that I'm kind of the only one. Everybody was up in arms when they were trying to change it to 5 fights, and everybody was talking all this shit online, and everybody was upset. I was the only one that requested a meeting and sat down with the commission. I was able to reason with them, and I felt like they were very reasonable, And so I'm going to go to the next commission meeting.
Yeah.
And I'm going to continue to make this argument, and I'm going to present it in a way that's helpful, because the community getting upset about it on social media is not enough.
Yeah.
But I will say, I do wish that more people would show up to the meeting and, reach out to the commission and try to, explain to them, and because at the end of the day, the commission makes its money off the fights and the fighters. And if you're making it harder for them, you're making it harder for the entire industry, and if you're trying to make it safer for them, well, then do so. Don't go against, what we're seeing in the only study that talks about headgear. I don't know, Gary. I don't know. It's very frustrating for me, man.
Yeah. I feel you, brother.
And and it's crazy. Here in Florida, it's completely different, right? Here in Florida, you've got heavier gloves, 12-ounce gloves, which I think are causing less knockouts, right?
Yeah.
3 rounds. California's got 10-ounce gloves. Here it's 12-ounce, so I think we're getting less knockouts at the fights. But there's no headgear here. It's optional. You don't have to wear it. And I actually, I tell Xavier, tell them there's no headgear at our show. If they want to fight with headgear, our show is not the one, because I don't want that. I don't want people getting brain damage. You know what I mean? Yeah. Again, I've had 5 transports. 4 of them had headgear, Gary. I don't want brain damage on my card. And so, in Florida, you don't have to wear headgear no matter how many fights you have, but you do have to wear shin guards. You know what? Mm-hmm. I think that's a better compromise, right? I think it's a better compromise. If you want to add safety, right? If you want to prevent cuts, make them wear shin guards and get rid of the headgear. Let the shin guards come off in the pros if that's what you want to do. But the headgear, man, it looks ugly. It fights ugly. It's dangerous. I can't, man. I can't. Alex is on here. He says, when will the fights from Fightersrep 23 be posted on YouTube? They're already up there, Alex. You got to join the channel. It's $9.99 to watch. That being said, we will release the fights within the coming week individually, each one, like we do after every show. To watch the fights live, you got to pay that $9.99. But then a week or so later, after our editors slice up all the fights and edit them, they upload them to YouTube. And so you'll have access to them for free in the coming week, and you'll be able to share them, hopefully, and, spread the word about Fightersrep. Gary, parting shots, anything you want to say, champ? I really appreciate you hearing me out, man.
Yeah, man. No, man, I feel you, man. I know, because I was there with you at the fights, and I talked to you about the fights when you promote them, and you're really into, a lot of times it's been a few fights that people like, oh, they stopped it early. And you always been like, I thought that was the right decision. These are amateur guys. They don't need to be hurt like that. That's right. It was good. Even last part,
by the way. Shout out to Ray Ramos. He was getting shit. He was getting shit from people for stopping that fight early or jumping into the clinch when he was jumping. No, He did a perfectly sound job. And that stoppage, that kid was on his way out, and he stopped that fight on time.
And I think it was not just Fightersrep 23, but I think it was, I don't know, it was 22 or I forgot what it might have been. But I remember me and you having a conversation. I thought they stopped early. You was like, nah, man. Like, this is something consistent you've been with, you know, hey, man, I don't want nobody to get hurt. They're especially that ain't getting paid a bunch of money or something like that. Like, it's different when you're in the UFC or you're a professional and you're getting money, and you know you still don't want to see anybody getting hurt, but at least you're getting, you know what I mean? Right. You're getting some compensated.
Those referees have a lot of experience, Gary. They see a lot of people get hurt, and they know our fighters. They're very familiar with them. They know, you know, who might have the ability sometimes to come back, who doesn't. But they're seeing it up close and personal. They got the best seat in the house. And when they see somebody's eyes roll back or something like that, you know, they know what they're doing. And that's, you know, that's kind of part of the argument that I tried making to the commission this time around. You know, it's especially in California, you know, I got to give it up. I got to give it up to the IKF. I got to give it up to CSAC. The officials, I don't care what anybody says, are absolutely fantastic. Gary, the officials in California, and I'll say Ray Ramos too here in Florida, but the officials in California, Gary, are absolutely top notch. Like, they see a guy's hurt, they jump in there and stop that fight, you know, right on time. I've seen them. I've seen countless times where they let a guy go and he comes back and wins. Right? Yeah. they just know they're understanding it. They understand our fighters. They understand our rule set very well. They know the community, and they know what they're looking at, you know. And I think, you know, putting headgear, it's going to mess with their work a bit. It's going to mess with the safety a bit. I think if it ain't broke, don't fix it, bro.
You know. Well, anyways, George, I got some collard greens, pot roast, and some macaroni and cheese waiting on me.
Yeah. All right, I'm coming over, big dog. All right, well, we'll talk soon.
Yeah,
I
man.
appreciate you, Gary, and you know, that's all we got.
Thanks everybody for watching.
Yeah. Have a good one.
Yeah.